This is the simplest yet hardest boss in my entire game, and it's actually based on a real life fish. It spins around, stuns you, and it's incredibly difficult to dodge. But to explain how I created it, I'll first explain to you how game devs even make bosses. Bosses are one of the most important things in video games. They are even the reason why many people play the games. I mean, without its diabolic bosses, Dark Souls wouldn't be as great as it is today. And even in other genres, bosses are really important. There are many platformers with bosses, and even strategy games with bosses. But how do the developers make them? There are numerous ways of creating a boss. Some start by making something that fits the narrative. If you get the boss idea from the story, you start with thinking about what the boss should add to the story, and also how the boss will change the progression of the game. For example, in Elden Ring, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure many bosses were made like that, because the bosses perfectly fit the story. After you've written the story of the boss, you design it and animate it and give it abilities that fit the story. Other devs do it the other way around. They're more focused on gameplay and decide the attack patterns of the boss before animating or doing anything else. After that, they animate it, add some story, and the boss is basically finished. I also have a way of making bosses. I'm working on a Dead Cells inspired roguelite called Devlog, and I made a lot of bosses for the game. By doing this, I learned a lot. I think the way I make bosses isn't much different from the way other game devs do it. For me, the first thing I think about when I make a boss is its size. Some attacks don't make sense for a small boss. If I have a boss that's half the size of a player, it probably doesn't make much sense to make a melee attack that covers half the screen. After I decide how big it should be, I come up with attacks and movements. The movements should be similar to the enemies in the levels or environment it lives in, and it should also suit the enemy's size. That's why I made this boss pretty small. I mean, it's not tiny, but compared to some other bosses, it's very small. Because of its small size, I could make it bounce around everywhere in the boss room. After doing the attacks, I adjust the difficulty by setting the damage and the attack speed. The boss doesn't have many attacks. It spins around and follows you. It dashes directly at the player and tries to bite him, and it also bounces up and down from the ceiling to the ground. I came up with the ideas because I wanted the player to move in a certain way. First I wanted him to dash directly through the enemy. The attack where it moves up and down is similar to a platforming element I added in the game. Because there were some issues, I had to remove it, but the idea still comes from something that was already in the level. If you liked the video, subscribe and wishlist Devlog on Steam.